get back in the win column? Well, they got it again yesterday. How many keys did they hit?
Well, number one was don't let J.J. McCarthy get comfortable. Pressure him early and often. I thought they brought a lot of pressure. I mean, he was 20 of 42, and he had 2 interceptions, so he had a 54 quarterback rating. So I thought they did a pretty good job. I mean, although the 2 interceptions, Bob, were, you just
throw it up for grabs, baby. Go get it.
And then number 2, handle the Viking stunts inside, the O-line and the running backs.
I mean, well, the O-line was terrible, but they only gave up the 1 sack.
Yeah, I thought handling the stunts and stuff, did a pretty decent job. Lamar saved him a couple of times, by taking off and running. Receivers win one-on-one battles with the blitz. I thought they won the one-on-one, but they dropped so many passes. That was the problem. What'd they drop, 4? Yeah.
That's 4 too many.
That's right.
Well, especially like 3 in the first 2 drives.
Yeah, well, Andrews and Likely back-to-back.
Like the one that probably would have been a touchdown, Bob. Do you think Andrews saw the safety coming across a little bit in his vision?
Well, and the goal line, too.
Yeah.
One thing he didn't see was the football, obviously. And then Likely had to hit him right in the
I don't know.
Right in the digits.
Yeah. And then number 4 was Lamar handled the blitz and defensive alignments. Thought he did a very good job at that. I don't think anything really surprised. The one time when 15, jackhammered him into the ground.
Oh, and he got the penalty?
Yeah.
In real time, that looked like a clean tackle, gotta be honest with you.
Well, he picked him up.
And then Moose Johnston said, well, he kind of drove him into the ground. Michael Strahan did not agree with that call, by the way.
Oh, I'm sure he didn't. Well, offensive guy, defensive guy. But I thought Lamar did a good job handling that and getting the ball out, doing those types of things. Win on 1st and 2nd down, stay out of 3rd and long.
Mixed bag.
Yeah. I don't think, I was a little disappointed in some of that because especially, like a lot of those in the red zone, they would give it to Henry on 1st down and get nothing. And then you're into throwing it after that, So, I mean, that was tough. It's still, we'll talk about it later, but it still goes back to the O-line. The O-line still stinks. And then number 6, handle the crowd noise. They did great. The Vikings, they couldn't handle the silence. I mean, I've never seen a game where they're jumping off sides like crazy.
O'Neal had 3 false starts.
I don't. That was nuts. And then, last but not least, win special teams. They definitely did that. I mean, the first fumble recovery that changed the game. Totally changed the game because that got the Ravens up top. But that was a big play by Jackson 39. I thought Jackson 39 played really well. Keon Martin played good too. He was hustling down there. So yeah, I thought those guys. And if they would have got the second one too, that was a crazy one. Where the Vikings guy takes it and then he fumbles and if they could have got that one, that would have been big. But yeah, so overall, it was good. But they still have Bob. There's one thing: if the O-line, I think this season is going to rely on the O-line. Period. If the O-line can get to like they were last year, they can win the rest.
But you're going to have to change from within because the trade deadline's gone. So.
Right. And Emory Jones was a 3rd-round pick, and I keep pushing for Bullock. I think Bullock's a player.
Corey Bullock, former Terp, who was one of the standouts of training camp in the preseason. Yeah.
But I think Voorhees is terrible. Terrible. He's not very athletic. He gets beat a lot, so it's not good right now.
Well, we have time for another call before Buzz Williams joins us. Let's go to Antoine in Baltimore. Antoine, thanks for holding. It's a Victory Monday. Your own Vinny Haynie and Nolan.
Yes, sir. Good morning, brothers. How y'all doing?
All wonderful. Right.
So I got my good, bad, and ugly this weekend.
Okay.
So good was the win.
Yep.
Outside of, I would like to see more running and less of these screens. Offense was like Novocaine. It took them some time to get started. Defense stood up. Special teams was the great equalizer and everything.
Yep.
So that was good. Great to have a win. The bad is Maryland football. Terrible. And they haven't really been a great team since those very first years of Ralph Friedgen. And that's a while. And I mean, he was 9
over 20 years ago. Yeah, no doubt.
So right now, if they want, they can go get Ralph Friedgen's coach in waiting. He don't have a job right now. James Franklin.
No, Franklin's getting a job.
He's Vitek or Auburn, apparently. That's the buzz around there.
And the ugly was IMG Academy canceling out on St. Francis High School this weekend because they were afraid their kids were going to get hurt and not get looked at by D1. Come on now.
And IMG kind of like St. Francis, though?
They are. They're ranked number 1 in the country.
Right, and they sent them like emails like, "Oh, we're not coming to play y'all this week." But come on, these are the games that you want to see. I mean, if y'all afraid to play them, then y'all shouldn't play St. John's Bosco or anybody else. But you know what, y'all gentlemen have a great day, great show, and I'll talk to y'all later this week.
All right, Antoine in Baltimore. So yeah, I saw that. I guess Thursday, Friday, where St. Francis. I thought IMG was like they're the bullies, and everyone else is chasing them. And Zion Ely, by the way, the Maryland commit. He's Studley on that St. Francis team, but I was stunned.
You know who's one of the coaches, Bob, at IMG is Mike Sellers. Remember the running back?
Oh, for the Redskins.
Yep.
Fullback.
Yeah, and Bob, just real quick about Mike. Like a year ago, Mike Sellers had a heart transplant.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. And then, he was down to hardly anything. Now he's back to, bigger and stronger and everything. And congrats to Mike, man. He's doing good.
Yeah, St. Francis hasn't played the local schools in a couple of years now.
Yeah.
But St. Francis, I mean, IMG.
I think they're number 2 in the country. I don't get why they wouldn't play.
It would be like, UCLA not wanting to play Duke in basketball or something. Yeah. Maybe this year they wouldn't. Actually, they're both ranked. We'll come back. Speaking of basketball, talk Terps. They lose to Georgetown. They got bully balled early in that game. Actually, throughout it, Maryland had a real hard time putting the ball in the basket. We'll talk to Buzz Williams about his team 2 games in. Still trying to get 100% healthy for sure. Whip around 11:15. We'll talk more about the Maryland loss to Rutgers. Then we'll take more of your phone calls at 475-883-1057. AFC North report later in the 11 o'clock hour. Pittsburgh Steelers lost last night. I'm sure you're all broken up about that too.
The best Ravens coverage.
Marquette coming up Saturday, but let's look back at what happened Friday down in Xfinity. The Gold Rush, he's the head basketball coach for the University of Maryland. He wanted foreigner. He got it. He's Buzz Williams. Coach, what's happening? How you feeling this morning?
Good morning. How you doing? Thanks for the music. I appreciate it.
A little double vision, I guess. When Georgetown was coming at you defensively early in the game, I guess it felt like double vision there. 11-0 run to start the game. You guys had one hoop in the first 10 minutes. How much of that was Georgetown related versus, maybe we just couldn't throw the ball in the ocean here?
Yes, sir. I'll always, as long as I talk to you guys, give credit to the opponent. I think anytime anything like that happens statistically, it would be foolish just to say it was us, not them. We did not handle their physicality from start to finish very well, but particularly at the start of both halves. To your point, 11-0 to start the game, we fouled 4 times in that 11-0 run, called timeout, started a different group in the second half. We did 100% better. We scored 2 and they scored 10, fouled 3 times, called another timeout. So only talking about those 2 6.5, 7 minutes of the game, that's 21-2. So we have to learn from that. There's a lot of other things from the game that we have to make improvements from. And again, it's week 1. I understand that we'll be judged in accordance with our results. But for our first home game, first week of the season, there's a lot of information that we can learn from, and we're going to have to execute at a much better rate on both ends of the floor in order for us to become the best that we can be.
Now, as you're at practice, getting ready for Alcorn State tomorrow night, a game you can hear on 105.7 The Fan Buzz. Miles Rice was back, for instance. He had 19 coming off the bench. So you're getting players back that you obviously think are going to be part of the rotation moving forward. But what's the number one thing or number 2, 3 things that you're working on for Alcorn and then certainly for Marquette coming up Saturday?
Well, we're trying to spend as much time on us as the opponent. I don't know if that's always right, but I think relative to year 1, beginning week 2 of the season, we went 2.5 weeks and weren't able to play 5-on-5 in October. And so not only from a chemistry standpoint, but really from an installation standpoint, a lot of the preseason calendar we weren't able to execute. And so we're kind of still in the preseason calendar, even though we're already in season. And so we're trying to handle that the best way that we can, but we're spending more time on us. And I think even though whether the game's at home or on the road, I think long-term in a 20-week season, if you're in the start of your second week, I think spending your pie chart focused on you on both sides of the ball, particularly in year 1, because everybody's brand new. I think that's the right thing for us to do.
Now, you talk about everyone brand new, and we talked about it last week, the week before that too, Coach, but trying to get your rotations together and the substitution patterns and the 5 that work best. How much does practice dictate that sort of thing for you at this stage?
Well, when we can have practice 5-on-5, that does help. And we stat everything that you think is statted in a game. We stat that and much more in a game, but also in practice. And so to the previous question, what we're trying to do is when we're in the film room, we're spending more time watching us from practice, watching us from games, so that as we lay building block after building block, whether it's someone that was in the rotation, currently not in the rotation, currently hurt, currently healthy, we're trying to make sure that as we start figuring this thing out, that we're giving our effort and our energy mentally and physically to us. And so I don't really know with 15 new players and everything brand new, the health, the lack of health, I don't know who needs to play. But I do know that who needs to play, we have to have much more stamina from a competitive standpoint. I know our communication level has to drastically improve. But if you have a quiet team, it could be that they're unsure what they're supposed to be doing, so they can't help their teammate with that. And then we have to play with much more physicality, whether that's on offense, not giving the ball to the other team, and then defensively, we did a good job getting fouled. We made 30 free throws, so we got fouled at a high rate. The counter to that is we fouled at an extremely high rate for us too, and that was because the ball was getting to the paint way too often, and that's where your fouls are going to occur. And so we've got to have more competitive stamina. We've got to have more elite communication, and we've got to be much more physical in what we're doing on both sides of the ball.
Buzz Williams, head basketball coach, University of Maryland. Terps 2 games this week, Alcorn tomorrow night. You can hear it on the Fan, 7 o'clock tip. And then Marquette coming up on Saturday at 2 o'clock. Another game you can hear on 105.7 The Fan. Pharrell Payne, he's getting doubled and tripled. He did have the double-double, 17 and 11. Dude, he's like Rick Barry shooting free throws right now, just not doing it underhanded. How is he adapting to all this added attention he's been getting early in the season?
I think he's done pretty well. He was better in game 2 than he was in game 1 relative to his competitive stamina. I didn't think statistically he played his average game. He was 2 of 7 on rim shot attempts. Normally he finishes at a much higher rate. 42% of the balls we shot were in the charge circle. The problem was we only made 33% of them. That's statistically a really poor number. But Gochi played a part in that, and normally he plays a positive part. But I thought the attention that he commands, and there's a variety of ways that teams will play him. I thought he handled that really well. We need to make sure, we call it post-feed movement. In other words, when we throw it inside, whether we throw it to him or if we throw it to Elijah, what are the other 4 people doing, and what is our spacing? And I think that's another element of us that we're trying to focus on, to make sure that regardless of how the opponent plays it, if they're going to send 2 to the ball, where's the second one coming from? And then what should our movement behind the ball be? And we've made some strides, but I think Gochi will continue to command some level of attention, and so our post-feed movement will need to continue to improve as well.
Buzz Williams, head basketball coach, University of Maryland. Buzz, last thing for you. You got Alcorn tomorrow. They're 0-3. Nick Woodward, one of their best players. He's a local kid. And then you have Marquette coming up on Saturday. You're obviously familiar with that program. Indiana dropped 14 threes on them yesterday. So the next couple of games, what are we looking for in regards to Maryland development before we get into the late part of November?
Can we play harder? Can we play harder longer? Can we play harder longer while everyone impacting the game with their voice, whether they're in between the lines or on the sideline? Can we keep the ball from getting to the paint at a better clip, whether the ball gets there off the pass or the bounce? And when we shoot it or when the opponent shoots it, how good are we at getting the rebound? And I think that a lot of those things are interrelated and interconnected. And I would think that you can see some of it from stats, but you can also feel some of it through the TV or even through your speaker as you're listening on the radio.
Buzz Williams, head basketball coach, University of Maryland. Coach, we appreciate it. Next week we got Doobie Brothers for you, I believe it was. So,
please.
Yeah, man. Good luck this week, and we'll talk to you next Monday.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
There's Buzz Williams, everybody. We'll come back, whip around. We'll talk Maryland football when we return. Talk about what happened this weekend in the world of sports. A lot of college basketball, college football zaniness that we'll get to. And then we'll back to your phone calls at 410-583-1057. Ravens win yesterday. They won 3 in a row. They're only a game out of first place. Ravens are still favored to win the division. Lamar Jackson's still rolling along. Hey, the Bills got blown out at Miami. The Ravens just handled them with relative ease.
This is Johnny Holiday, voice of the Maryland Terrapins. Follow the
Cakes. Best crab cakes in Maryland.
Time for the whip around. Vinny and Haynie, 105.7 The Fan this past Saturday. Up in New Jersey, Maryland taking on Rutgers. Both teams trying to get bowl eligible. Rutgers coming off a blowout loss to Illinois. Terps loses a 4 in a row. We all thought Maryland was going to win. And after a great start to the game, Malik Washington had a brilliant run, and he ran for over 160 yards. But it wasn't enough because Maryland's defense couldn't stop anybody.
One more time for Raymond, and he's in for a touchdown. A special day for Antoine Raymond.
Antoine Raymond, that was FS1 on the call. 41 carries, 240 yards. And the touchdown there. Chunk play after chunk play after chunk play. Quarterback throws for 4 TDs. Maryland did force a couple of turnovers, but unfortunately just could not stop the run as the Scarlet Knights rush for 256 yards. Terps lose 35-20. 5 straight losses for the University of Maryland. They're big underdogs this weekend at Champaign against the Fighting Illini. Then you host Michigan, then Michigan State, and 4-0 start looked like a lock for a bowl game. I mentioned it earlier. 4-0, up 20-0 to Washington late in the third quarter. And then you lose that game. Then you blow a fourth quarter lead in Nebraska. Then you lose at UCLA, who, by the way, has lost 2 in a row. All of a sudden, then Indiana kind of puts it on you, pulling away in the second half. Where do they go from here? I mean, can they get 5 wins? Forget about getting bowl eligible.
I think they're going to get blown out at Illinois, Bob. Michigan here, there'll be more Michigan fans than there will be Maryland fans. I'm guessing the M will be kind of empty if they've lost 6
It'll
in a row.
be early full, and then
they got Michigan State at home. To me, that's the only shot they got to win a game. And that would give them 5, and it would stop a 7-game losing streak. So I don't know. I mean, I mean, when you really look at it, I mean, if you're doing an evaluation, of locks, and we always say we like locks, but I mean, the numbers are the numbers. Bob, after a bye,
0-12.
Yeah. I mean, that's check.
Dreadful record against ranked teams, terrible in conference.
Staff changes all the time, penalties all the time. I mean, what's the buyout, Bob? It was like $13 million.
I'm not sure.
So
it's not Brian Kelly level money. It's $56 million that he wants every penny of, apparently. But
Jim Smith's going to have a decision to make.
Here's the tough decision he has: the buyout, wherever Franklin winds up. He's going to coming in and poaching like he did with Chop Robinson, for instance, a couple years ago. Now with the Dolphins, you got Loxley coming in as a lame duck coach going into 2026. Is Malik Washington going to be there? Is Zaire Mathis going to be there? Is Stewart going to be there? Does Ely come in? Can you add? Ely's a 5-star recruit. Everything else is a 3-star, which is great. If the 3-stars become 4-star recruits, which Maryland's done before. Yep. Hey, DJ Moore was a 2-star recruit who became a first-round draft pick. Still very much gainfully employed in the NFL. For instance, what do you say to the people that are spending dough, investing a lot into the program? I'm part of the One Maryland initiative, but I'm a real small part of that. But what about the people that are bringing like literally millions of dollars to the program who are going to speak loudly about change?
Yeah, they're not going to be happy, Bob. I mean, I don't see how they could be. And then Jim Smith a couple weeks ago said that they will not be outbid on their elite guys, like the Maliks and Stewarts and those guys. But if those guys want to stay, that's going to be the question. It may not be about the money. It's going to be about where's the hope. And that's what hey, Jim, where's the hope for this program? What's the hope?
Yeah, and this was their easiest schedule that they played, too. Real quick, Big Ten, Indiana, who blew Maryland out, they stunned Penn State at the end, 27-24, toe tap in the end zone. Mendoza.
Fabulous catch.
Oregon beats Iowa and a nail biter, 18-16. And speaking of Washington, they lose to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Over the weekend. And without Vinny Mahomes, Nebraska beat UCLA.
UCLA's back to...
Yeah, the magic is gone.
Yes, the magic is gone.
Elsewhere, college football local real quick. Navy gets housed by Notre Dame, 49-10. That's back-to-back L's for the midshipmen. Towson loses 28-10 to Villanova, and Del State beat Morgan 14-12. Let's see. Hockey, not Stanley Cup playoffs, but on their way to the Stanley Cup, the Canes, Vinny. 5-4 over the Maple Leafs there.
Yeah, they won last night, Bob. They were down, came back and won. But they've won 4 in a row. They're in first place now in the Metro, and they've got a lot of injuries, but they are just Rod Brindamore's a hell of a coach. They have their system that they play, and they have guys that fit in, and they're just playing well. Whereas the Caps are struggling, Bob. I mean, the Caps are 3-6-1 in their last 10. They've lost 2 in a row, and last year they had the excitement of the chase, with Ovi. So the crowd, there was always anticipation every game. They're not scoring. They don't have that.
Yeah, and they were way better as a team than everyone thought they were going to be. Yeah. I mean, they got housed in the playoffs by Carolina. But Joe Beninati before the season, this team's going to be better than last year's. Not off to that sort of start. It's the Whip Around video at 81.05.7 The Fan, NBA of local interest. OKC 114-100 over Memphis. Aaron Wiggins, who's off to a great start, adductor strain. He's missed 2 games in a row. He's been brilliant for the defending champs, but they still win. Santi Aldama Loyola, 12 points, 9 boards, 4 assists. Cam Spencer, Loyola Boys Latin, he had 9 points. Golden State over Indiana. Going to be a long year for the old Pacers there. 114-83. Pat Spencer, Cam's brother, 2 points, 2 assists. This day in Ravens history. Today's November the 10th, 2019. Nolan, this was the game where Lamar went off against the Bengals, 49-13. Lamar 3 touchdown passes. Also ran for a TD. Remember the spin move? Put him in the spin cycle. Lamar Jackson on his way to his first MVP. Marcus Peters had a pick 6, too, as the Ravens win that one, their 5th consecutive win. And sadly, passages in the world of sports. Lenny Wilkens, 9-time All-Star as a player. When he retired, the all-time winningest coach in the NBA, now 3rd all-time behind Don Nelson and Greg Popovich. He passes away at the age of 88. If you remember, you're a certain age like myself. He was the head coach of the Sonics when they lost to the Bullets in the 78 finals at 7, and then won the title in 79 in 5 games. So Lenny Wilkens, gone at the age of 88. 2-time Hall of Famer, in as a coach and as a player. Paul Tagliabue passed away, the longtime commissioner of the NFL. He's gone at the age of 84. Not getting a lot of love in Baltimore because when the city got hosed in the expansion deal where Charlotte and Jacksonville got the teams, Baltimore had all that funding, public funding for a new stadium, which became M&T Bank. He said Baltimore should take that money and build a museum. Well, we took the Browns instead. So, Cleveland, if you got a hard on for us, maybe you should look at old tags. But still, when somebody passes away, it's a sad day, and he's, in the Hall of Fame, replacing Pete Rozelle. But he had his head up old Jack Hank Cook's rear end there, and that was kind of all she wrote there for Baltimore getting a football
he was
team.
big into D.C., Bob.
Well, he's a Georgetown guy.
Yep.
He was actually a very good basketball player for Georgetown.
And he and Gene Upshaw were tight. That's why they
players kept losing.
Yes.
It's Vinny at 81.05.7 The Fan. We'll come back, take your phone calls. 410-583-1057. Ravens haven't lost in a while. They've won 3 in a row, including yesterday. So earlier in the show. 4 straight games, Ravens have allowed less than 20 points. Defensively, still not getting a ton of sack numbers. Positive ones anyway. But now the turnovers are becoming friendly, Vinny, for years, weeks. Ravens were one of the worst teams in the NFL in turnover margin. Lamar doesn't turn the ball over all that much, and now things are starting to catch up a little bit in a positive way.
Yeah, and, I think that game, Bob, you could tell the inexperience of the quarterback on the 2 interceptions. The one was just a dumb throw that he made on the first one that Starks intercepted. And then the other one, John Jefferson. Bob, you couldn't have. if you're a quarterback and it's 3rd and inches. I got John Jefferson one-on-one.
Justin Jefferson.
Or Justin Jefferson.
He was a badass, too.
Justin Jefferson, one-on-one with Marlon Humphrey, and you got the whole field. I take Jefferson all day, and he threw it late, and Jefferson fell down, and Humphrey got an easy pick.
It's Vinny Haynie, 1057 The Fan Victory Monday. You want to get in? You can. Let's get out to the phones. 475-883-1057 takes us to Rashawn in Baltimore. Rashawn, what's up?
Hey, good morning, Bob and Vinny.
How you doing?
Great victory, man. Big road victory. Before I get to the Ravens, though, I know, Bob, you had to talk me off the ledge Saturday, and I was talking about them Terps, man.
Yeah, you were running not hot. You were running disappointed. I was like, come on, man.
Yeah,
you're having fun. You're on a road trip. Don't let it bring you down, man.
Yeah, man. But losing the Ruckus, though, come on, 28-10, that's unacceptable.
Yeah.
I at least expected to go to the Odyssey at Bowl or something like that.
We're not even getting a condiment bowl this year. Mayonnaise, no mustard.
That won't pay.
Odyssey Apple, yeah. That's fantasy land.
Yeah, man. But I didn't know that was our first time actually winning in Minnesota ever. So that was something interesting that I found out yesterday. Yeah, never won there yet. So it was the first time. But,
now, they were saying all the purple. There was a lot of Ravens fans there?
Yeah, a ton. But you couldn't distinguish because everybody had damn purple on. So, everybody just blending in with each other. But as far as the game, certain days of the game, I don't know why they didn't give Keaton Mitchell more runs. He had 4 carries for 31 yards. He had that one explosive run.
Yes, he did.
And then they went back. Yeah, he went back to it. They went back to the same exact play the next play, and then they didn't get nothing. Switch it up a little bit. Go to the other side or something.
Well, how about block? Block the same way you did the first time.
Yeah, that's true. You got it. Yeah, that offensive line, man. That's another thing. We need to do something about that. I say in the draft that we move up, man, next year and draft some dogs on that offensive line because that's important, man. Stop trying to get these guys out the 6th and 7th round like the Voorhees and the Filleles and trying to make them out, into something. So you see how that's working out, right?
Well, they got Emory Jones who's going to play eventually here.
Yeah, Emory Jones, who's bouncing around, still to be determined what position he's going to play. We think Corey Bullock maybe gets some run, but how much longer? I know you were lamenting this earlier, Vinny. Yeah. How much longer do you wait to pull the trigger on a possible move? Because I think you've made it clear that you're not a fan of Ben Cleveland.
No. And I don't think
not even ahead of the 2 guys that you're saying suck right now.
Well, Bob, he hadn't. When's the last time we saw him on the field?
I can't remember.
Right.
I think I was in Cleveland the last time. All right, let's get out to the phones. Let's go to Kevin in Ellicott City. Kevin, what's up?
What's going on, Vinny and Bob? How y'all doing?
Doing all right.
So for me, fellas, this game was really, and I feel like the next few games are going to kind of just be, that go down the alley and just drag them out, knuckle bleeding, fist fight in the alley, my man. And I thought we answered the bell pretty good yesterday with that, fellas. The 2 things I'd like to see us work on is those critical moment plays where we certainly could have busted the clock up a little bit better. I'd just like to see our offense be able to really get us that first down like when we need it. You know what I mean, Bob and Vinny? But
that's and we go back to the same thing all the time. We go back to the O-line. That's the problem. It's the O-line. That is the biggest problem that they've got right now. What's the biggest difference? Last year they were number 1 in rushing, number 1 in offense. And this year it's not clean. It's not clean. They're not knocking people off the ball. And let me just say, the difference from McCary and Voorhees, Huge.
Yeah, leaps and bounds difference, Vinny, for sure, my man. And, one last thing, fellas. Does managing the clock come down to the offense as well as the coaching, or is that just the coaching? I mean, I guess for me, I'd like to see the offense look like they're a little more aware of the importance of the clock and, basically down in distance.
For instance.
Nope, he's gone.
Yeah. I just wondered what play was. Because, Bob, you saw in the one play, which was pretty impressive, the New England guy running down the field. He looks back at the bench before he goes in and scores, like, should I get
Henderson.
a touchdown? Yeah, should I get a touchdown or lay down?
And I think Drake May was still kind of bent. Well, it goes to show you that no matter how much you score, the defense still isn't confident enough to stop the other team, which makes me insane. But then again, they don't care what I think in the NFL. Let's go to Rob at Bel Air. Rob, thanks for holding your own. Vinny Haynie and Nolan McGraw. We haven't even talked to Nolan yet. We'll get to him. What's going on?
Got to talk to Nolan.
Yes.
Nolan gives the best conversations there is, man. Nolan's the man. So is Vinny, and so are you, Bob.
Now, how can we be the man, Rob, if you're the man?
I just had to do that.
Right.
So, Vinny, how'd you like where you guys did the announcement and where you guys were at in Boston? How'd you like that place?
Oh, the Barrel House?
Yeah.
It was great. The food was good. There was a lot of people. It was the first time I'd ever been there, and it was great. You know who I met, Bob? Sean Landeta was there.
Former Towson Tiger punter.
Yep.
New York Giants Super Bowl champion.
Yep.
Nice.
Well, we always bypass that because we live in this area, and we always go to Texas Roadhouse. Maybe we'll have to go there next time.
I'd go across the street. Go to the Barrel House. Give it a shot because the food that we had was very good.
Well, we're definitely gonna have to try that. So no doubt. So on the 3rd and 4 play, well, I guess that's what Kevin was trying to talk about, which I was calling about. I would have been just happy if Lamar would have just, went down or something like that, because my heart started beating. With 1 minute.
Let the clock just keep running with 1:55?
Yeah, or you guys have talked about it before, and I don't know if I thought maybe putting Keaton Mitchell and Henry in the backfield, maybe to throw everything off, maybe it would have got the 4 yards and we wouldn't have had to breathe heavy. But there was also that play, I want to ask you guys, when Roquan got the pass interference call.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand that. The reason why, I didn't. I thought, was it because they were on the Vikings side and they were screaming and yelling and doing everything else to the referees? Usually sometimes they'll say there is no flag for pass interference. I had a bad feeling they were just going to, give him the pass interference call. That's how this game was. I don't know how you play defense in the NFL. I just don't, because every play that's a long bomb and somebody goes up for it, I'm always expecting the flag. And when it doesn't happen, you almost like go, oh, they didn't throw a flag, because if you look at the replays of all the plays, everybody's hand fighting all the way down.
Well, the one with the Woozier and Jefferson down the left side, the guy running with them didn't throw the flag. It was another official threw the flag when Jefferson started bitching and complaining.
Yeah, over officious, perhaps.
Yeah.
Maybe he assumed that his colleague was going to throw the flag.
I thought the ball had to be catchable, too. The Roquan one, that was out of bounds and wasn't even close.
Yeah, I think it hit a Viking, a real Viking. We'll come back, take more of your phone calls, report that 583-1057. We will say hi to Nolan McGraw. You can join us through News from the Nest, which is coming up at noon. We got Buy or Sell 12:15. AJ Gersh, Box 45. Get his thoughts on the Ravens winners of 3 in a row. And we will get to the AFC North report, because 2 teams lost that play. The Ravens were the only team in the division that won. Well, Cincinnati was on bye. We'll get to our picks. How did that go? We got a game coming up tonight. Jeffrey Chadia, NFL.com. What the hell happened to Buffalo in Miami yesterday?
Jason LaConfora, Ken Weinman, Tim Barber.
27-19. 3 wins in a row. Bob Haynie, Vinny Serrato, Nolan McGraw. Nolan, say hi to the people. I know we're tight coming up on the top of the hour. News from the Nest. If you're on the phones, we don't get you this hour. We'll get to you coming up at the top. Buy or sell, 12:15's got some cash. Hopefully, AJ Gersh, Fox 45. But how you feeling, Aaron Nolan?
Feel great. Great Ravens win yesterday. And, I mean, look, I don't think we can sing the praises of this defense enough. You know, I was someone who was way, way down on what they were capable of earlier this year. And sure, Draymond Jones, first game, didn't get after the didn't bring down the quarterback, I should say. He was very much getting after J.J. McCarthy. Instant impact, very noticeable out of him.
Yeah, over 30 snaps, right?
60% of the snaps he played.
And he had a couple of quarterback hits, so good to see. And who knows when we'll see Carl Lawson. Because John Harbaugh alluded to him playing 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
What's the holdup here? Why the delay in his debut?
Must not be in shape, I'm guessing. I don't know. I thought that would have been a game that he definitely would have played in. You know, so we'll see. This week against Cleveland, I don't know.
Nolan, anything else on your mind there? I mean, the Terps lose in basketball and football. Tony Manzolino got a new job.
I saw that.
Coach for the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, it kind of flew under the radar a little bit. But you figured with the attention he got from the interim gig that he wasn't going to go without a job at all. I do wonder how much he was in consideration for any other, like, actual managing jobs. We didn't hear about him getting an interview or anything like that beyond the Orioles one. So it'll be interesting to see where his career goes from here.
Yeah, the Hyder got a couple, didn't get the job. I mean, Colorado's still the one vacancy left, Major League Baseball. But Manzo's a baseball lifer. I believe his dad works for the Braves organization, Doug Manzolino. So a little family reunion there for Walt Weiss, the new skipper with the Braves, who, like the Orioles, had an injury-plagued 2025. But no excuses. You got to win some games here. All right, let's go to Darren in D.C. Darren, thanks for holding your own with Vinny Haynie and Nolan.
Hey, guys, really quick. Yesterday obviously was a really good win, but Monken is just maddening to me with what he does, which is so predictable. You've got Keaton Mitchell, 3 carries. He always comes in around the 4-minute mark before the half. 2 great runs. Then, he gets stonewalled on one, and you never see him again. And I just don't understand why the man continues to do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. John's got to talk to him, but John ain't going to, because I think you all know how I feel about him. As it relates to the line, I think Voorhees is going to be replaced by Emory Jones at some point. What I saw yesterday was despicable. That guy was getting thrown around like a rag doll. Yep. And actually the poor guard play is affecting Tyler Linderbaum. This isn't a massive dude that, hey, listen, I can take you out on the A-gap, or on the nose rather, and then pass off or go to either left or right. He's literally looking at guys converging on him because the guards cannot hold up. And yeah, by the way, on that spin move, it almost got that fellow Lele whiffed on. It almost got Lamar killed, but it's what it is. Finally, and I'll talk later this week about Locks, who I think is on his last legs, unfortunately, because I like him, but it's no point. There's a caller that called in yesterday on the afternoon show named Bailey, and I took exception with something he said about on the interception that the Ravens shouldn't have been celebrating because they've been playing poorly, whatever. Listen, if you played, which I highly doubt I did, get out there on the field and you go and run your body into guys all game long. When you play well, you do something great, you have absolutely the right to celebrate, especially if you're leading. If you are down 3 touchdowns, okay, that's probably not the thing to do. But at the end of the day, it is part of football. It's celebrating. So if the guy wants to go root for the Bengals or root for somebody else, Pittsburgh, go ahead and do it. But don't do that here with the Ravens. We don't need you. All right, guys.
All right, Darren, DC. And that would have been the game sealing pick.
I told Becky, I said, that's game. Bob, the play that he made, he ran the route better than Addison. I think it was Addison or Naylor, one of the two. And then he reaches out there and catches it. It was they should have just gave it to him because it was a phenomenal play. And I still think he deserves it. I thought that maybe he would have, if he really felt strongly about it, Bob, would Roquan have been like, more animated to the refs?
He didn't put up much of a fight.
No.
He didn't go Earl Weaver. But then again, if they go to the replay assist, you could scream until your head pops off.
Right, because Harbs really didn't because they showed Harbs over there, and the guy must have told him, it's not us. We thought it was, and even the guy probably told Roquan, I called it interception. They called it back in New York, and they're not even, sometimes, let the refs that are there kind of control things.
All right, we got time for another call. Nolan McGraw, he says yes. Let's go to Ed in Arbutus. Ed, what's up?
Bob, Vinny, Nolan, good day to all you gentlemen.
Hey, good morning. Soon to be afternoon, Ed.
Yes, sir. Ravens doing what needs to be done at this point, stacking victories defensively, attacking the football, making plays. Stand-up defenders playing fast and all-unit communicative effort. I really like the Mike Backer tackling tandem in the middle of number 40 Buchanan and Roquan. Roquan definitely ripped off on a pick yesterday.
Yep.
Hamilton now in maximum effective floating joker role. Same thing, making plays, deflections. The PI, bad call on the Woozy. He had excellent coverage on that play. Secondary men only saw one failure to wrap missed tackle.
No, Wiggins missed a bunch, I thought.
Okay. He has been playing well, though, Vinny, this year. Starks with another factor pick. Humphrey's playing with physicality, hustle. He's trying to attempt strips. For the D-line, you don't have to finish the play, but it's all about pressures. Disrupt their primary intentions. On the offense, we were balanced in running pass attempts. Excellent QB three-play sequence. Lamar on the run, Andrews with the TD pass, Bateman with the two-point conversion. On special teams, everyone's doing their jobs effectively. 2 games in a row now. Vinny, you've mentioned his name a couple times today. Number 39, Jackson.
Yeah.
With excellent cover skills, and he's running through the tackle with jarring hits. Last thing today, gentlemen, I've always been a firm believer in taking early points that have late-game meaning, but to do so within probability reason. Yesterday, up by 9 points, 2-score lead, did question the decision for a 50-yard plus field goal attempt at that juncture versus a stout punt. Because if you miss it, which they did, you're gifting them unearned short field position to get back in that ball game. Ravens did recover to shut them down, however. That's it today, gentlemen. I thank you for your courtesy.
All right, Ed Arbutus bringing the heat as always.
Yeah, Bob, I thought about, should they punt, when they gave it to Looper, but he must have hit a few in pregame and wasn't like it was shorter.
Yeah,
he just missed it. Yeah.
Missed
So,
it by that much, little Maxwell Smart.
I don't have a problem. I mean, that's why you drafted the guy, and he'd been kicking well up to that kick.
Still want to see the game-winning field goal attempt, no matter the yardage, and see how he responds to that one. 10 weeks are done. Well, tonight wraps up week 10 of the NFL season. Philadelphia, Green Bay, we'll do our picks for that one. But Matt Stover. Justin Tucker, his suspension will be coming to an end, too.
Yeah, so we'll see if he gets any tryouts tomorrow.
It's Vinny at 81.057, the Fan News from the Nest. Coming up next, you're on the phones. We'll take your calls. If you want to get in, now's your chance to do so. Let's count that dough, hopefully at 12:15-ish. Buy or sell, AJ Gersh, Box 45. Get his thoughts on the Ravens, winners of 3 in a row. We get to the AFC North report. We're going to do our picks. Got NFL lunch. We got Jeffrey Chadia, NFL.com. We got a lot to get to. It's a victory Monday for the Ravens. They're only a game out of first place because Pittsburgh lost last night.
Ravens.
Lamar Jackson is gone.
Terps.
Ravens have won 3 consecutive games. We've talked about this first couple hours of the show. Getting turnovers. Should have had 4. Got 3 officially. Malachi Starks, second straight game with an interception. Here's the rookie talking about winning the turnover battle.
Yeah, I mean, turnovers equal momentum. So anytime you can get a turnover, defense, special teams, I mean, it's huge. So just for us to go out there and do that as a team and play complementary football is huge.
Bob, we predicted Malachi for 6. He's got 2 in a row, so he's got time to do it. So, yeah, he's showing up more. I think he's much more comfortable. And that was a nice break he made on that ball. You know, he showed his range and stuff on that play.
But playing more of a center field, but looking like, as we're, 9 weeks, 10 weeks into his NFL career, like a guy that's getting acclimated. And here is Malachi Starks talking about getting adjusted to the NFL at this stage of the season.
Yeah, I think just really trusting myself, my preparation, and the guys around me. Just trusting them to do their job, which is allowing me to, play fast and just be myself. So really just the connection with the team and just the amount of work that we put in.
When you play fast, you're not thinking as much. It allows you to play faster. And right now he's playing much faster than he was. Doesn't have to think. And I still think he's taken off since Gilman's been back there. So I think that's been a big plus for him, getting another veteran guy back there next to him. I mean, he's between, Gilman and Marlon Humphrey. So you're between 2 veteran smart guys back there.
As he become more adept at the wrapping when it comes to tackles. I mean, Gilman had the rough day against the Dolphins, missing tackles, and he tried to steal the loaf of bread from Jones on that first touchdown. Gilman, but Starks looked like he's becoming a little more adept at securing ball handlers there.
Yeah, he's doing a better job wrapping. They just need to show Wiggins how to do that too, because that was extremely embarrassing. The way Wiggins that won't use his hands. He won't wrap. And I know they do drills. But, Bob, that's what happens when you don't practice tackling. When do you practice tackling? Live. You never do. And he didn't play preseason games, so he doesn't ever get to do it. And it doesn't look like he really is crazy about tackling either.
Marlon Humphrey, he had an interception yesterday, and as Marlon says after the game, the win, hey, look, Lamar's bailed our asses out so many times, it's only right that we return the favor here.
Obviously we have Lamar Jackson, but on defense, we're trying to get it to where we can win games on defense. We don't even need the offense to put up any points. We can turn the ball over. We can get them the ball in the red zone. So that's been a big key, I think, the mindset shift of, even though we have Lamar Jackson, let's give him a smoke break. Let's give him an off day. He's bailed us out so many times. How about we do it? And so I think that's been a big difference as far as the mindset.
I don't know that he got the off day. He still has to make some play because that defense is not dominant enough where, you go into the game and, hey, if you guys score 10 this week, we're going to win. I haven't felt that yet.
Sure.
And, hopefully we can feel that. But they're not dominant enough against the run yet, I don't think. And you know what? The thing that helped them, too, is the Vikings got down. So they got to throw it all the time. So it kind of takes away the run. But in the second half, every first down play, what they get coming out of the start of the third quarter there, Bob, first play was a 17-yard run. Then the next series, it was a long run. So, I wish they would be a little more stout or get some 3 and outs. That's what I wish.
Well, how about this one on top of the turnovers? Only 1 sack. That was Travis Jones. But 12 quarterback hits for the Ravens. So is this maybe a sign, Vinny, that the sacks are going to start to, I'm going to say flow, but the sacks are going to become more than just 1.5 a game? Because Travis Jones, and you'll do the film study in a couple of days, he had maybe the best game of the season for him.
He's stacked 3 of them in a row now. Because he's playing really good against the run, too. And I think, Bob, what they're doing is they're creating more pressures. They're bringing more people. When they just bring 4, they're not getting a ton of pressure. They're getting batted balls. But when Hamilton's coming and stuff, then they're getting some heat. And then also putting Draymond Jones over the tackle or the guard. And they have Van Noy on the outside and Green on the outside, so they have some more legitimate rushers there. So I think that helps too. And it seemed like they wanted to bring guys up. And I just think that they're stunting and twisting, taking advantage of, the offensive line's blocking schemes and stuff to get free runners and stuff. I thought they did a pretty good job with that. I think they're getting better, and they're getting faster at that. And, you got Dylan Gabriel this week. You got another rookie quarterback, Bob, just like you had this past week, on the road.
Here's John Harbaugh, news from the Nest Video at 8105.7 The Fan with Nolan McGraw, talking about the offense staying disciplined, even though things might not have been smooth for them.
I think the poise under pressure, handling the noise, 1 pre-snap penalty, no turnovers in this environment. And it's a twofold noise. It's the noise of the crowd, which is incredible. It's also the noise of the defense and the noise they create with all their schemes and the way they play. And they're a very physical, tough defense, well coached. So those two things, I got to give our offense all the credit for that.
I think the offense going in was well prepared for all the blitzes. That's kind of what I took out of it. That they did a nice job understanding really no free runners where Lamar was running crazy all the time. So I thought they were well prepared going into the game.
It's Vinny Haynie, 105.7 The Fan. Only we have time for a call before we get to buy or sell. Let's get out to the phones. Let's go to Andy and Dundalk. Andy, thanks for holding. What's going on this Victory Monday?
It ain't no problem holding, my friend. I'm enjoying the show, and I mean, I'm going to say something I've said before, but we could very easily have lost that game yesterday. The way John Harbaugh manages the clock, and I don't want to hear about the offensive and defensive coordinators because he's doing all the hiring, and how many have we been through in his time frame? But at under 7 minutes, 6.5 minutes to play in the game, we're winning by 14 points. And we run the ball on first down, no gain. And we throw the ball on second down. How about we just run the ball? And when Minnesota gets it back, if we don't get a first down, which I'm okay with that, if we run it 3 times, they get the ball back with under 5 minutes to play. Then again, with under 2 minutes to play, it's the same thing. It's throwing the ball. And not necessarily.
They threw it on the third down. They threw it on the third down. You know what, though? Okay. I mean, because to me, in that situation, Vikings are out of timeouts. There's, minute 55. And here's what you're deciding is, and you got to decide, you're the head coach and you're the coordinator. Do you want me to run it or run the clock? Or if I'm Harbs, do you have a play that you like that we get a first down? Because if we get a first down, the game's over right then. So, I mean, Bob, I mean, I would have probably thrown it in that situation. I mean, just because I want to end it. That's the thing.
But you move the chains, then you're sticking a fork. Yep,
otherwise, Minnesota would have got it back. Minute 15.
Yeah, but with 6.5 minutes to play, if you run the ball twice instead of throwing it, there's not 1 minute and 55 seconds left when you're giving it back to them again. You're way lower in the clock.
No, I understand that.
Hey, thanks, Andy.
Yep.
So John Harbaugh, maybe clock management not his friend, as we've had more than one person check in saying that didn't necessarily agree with the play calling, but is that more of a Todd Monken thing or is that a John Harbaugh thing? At whose mandate?
Well, that's Harb's mandate.
Does this happen?
No, Harb's
within
mandating
the time frame.
Harb's mandating like, hey, just run the ball, kind of thing, or because like the drive before that, Bob, wasn't it where they held the ball for like almost 7 minutes and took it down and got the touchdown, and they were running it pretty good on them. To me, if your defense is playing pretty decent, I have no problem just running the ball, too.
When we come back, let's count some dough. Please buy or sell and talk about the many sports subjects of this Monday. Turf football, they lose on Saturday. They've lost 5 in a row. Maryland Hoops men, they lose to Georgetown on Friday night. Got outscored 11-zip, start the game. Couldn't dig it out of hole. And the Orioles still looking for free agents. You got the arbitration figures going to be exchanged. You got non-tender dates coming up. We'll get into all of that stuff and more later on in the show. Jeffrey Chadia, NFL.com. Tom. Talk to him about Week 10. Not done yet. Philadelphia and Green Bay tonight. But how about Carolina, for instance? They win at Green Bay, then lose at home to New Orleans. What the hell's going on this year?
Hey everyone, I'm Boomer Esiason. Follow the Ravens, Terps, and O's on 105.7 The Fan or anytime on the free Odyssey app.
Jones Miller Hyundai Black Friday savings. They start
Maryland football loses their fifth straight. Bad news. Maryland hoops, man, they lose to Georgetown. They're 2 games into the season, not making any of it. Even the coach doesn't know what the hell to expect from his team. Moving forward here, Buzz Williams, baseball season very much in play, and other things going on as well. But let's count some dough first. A little buy or sell.
All righty. The Dow is up 92. The S&P's up 63. NASDAQ's up 368. DraftKings up 80 cents. Under Armour is down 14 cents to $4.29.
Well, let's start here with Maryland basketball today. They did not respond well in their first true test of the season, a 70-60 loss to Georgetown on Friday night. All of this really behind right from the jump. Non-existent three-point shooting outside of that first half against Coppin, abysmal all season long through these 2 games, 28% overall from beyond the arc. My immediate thought here goes back to just 2 years ago. The lack of threes killing the Terps that season. That was their clear-cut biggest weakness that year, hitting 29% over a full season, which was bad enough to rank them 350th in the country. Long way to go this year, but buy or sell, Bob. This year's team will also be abysmal from 3, hitting 30% or worse on the year.
Ooh, I'm going to soft buy it. Not going to make any absolutes by any stretch of the imagination. They were 19% from beyond the arc on Friday night. They only shot 25% from the floor overall. The surprising thing is they're shooting over 80% from the free throw line. Payne was a 50% shooter at Texas A&M, and he looks like Larry Bird swishing those things. So will they be last year's Crab 5? No, because Kevin Willard made it a point to bring in shooters. But we'll see. Miles Rice has a history of making threes at Washington State, Indiana. Somebody's going to have to step up and at least be acceptable, or Payne's going to have quadruple teams dealing with him every single game.
Well, we've just surpassed the midway point of the NFL season, which means there's enough time to make at least somewhat of an informed proclamation about what's going on this year. How about some grades for every team, courtesy of Tyler Sullivan? And in the AFC North in particular, the Steelers leading the way with a B+, Ravens a C, Browns D, and Bengals in last with an F. Justification for the Ravens, pretty straightforward. The miserable start, they're not off the hook for that, but a very clear turnaround here as of late. Much improved health, that helps as well. And a better long-term outlook because of their schedule. Meanwhile, the Bengals lower than the Browns. The reasoning there, Sullivan not willing to allow the Burrow injury as a full excuse. Because, as we know, that defense somehow even worse than they were just last year and could be historically bad when it's all said and done. The Browns, meanwhile, get a slight pass. They weren't supposed to be competitive, and they did hit on some key draft picks as well. Are you buying or selling, Vinny, those AFC North grades?
I'll sell it. I think B+ for Pittsburgh is extremely high. Otherwise, the others I can kind of all live with right now. I mean, I'd probably say the Ravens right now would be a C+ because they're kind of trending up, whereas, you know, Pittsburgh's kind of trending down, and the others... Cleveland's got no hope because they got no offense, and since he's got no D, so yeah, I'll sell it.
Well, LSU's unfortunate season continued over the weekend with that loss to Alabama. Quarterback Garrett Nussmeier benched along the way, making way for Michael Van Buren, his 3rd time he's made an appearance in a game this season. Now, a lot of people would probably like to see that switch become permanent, but important to note that Van Buren can appear in just one more game before losing redshirt status in 2025. Something to consider for the Tigers, but buy or sell, Bob, LSU will prioritize the present. Let Van Buren start these final 3 weeks.
I'm going to sell it because sacrificing a year of eligibility because Nussmeier's gone after this year. This was a guy that was expected to be a Heisman contender, possibly one of the top picks in the upcoming NFL draft, and it is not going well for him. But I think that they will look at the future, Nolan, as opposed to the present, because best case scenario, they went out. What are they going to? The wish you were here bowl? Nah. Get Van Buren ready for next year. And what a cool name, Van Buren.
The Van Buren boys.
Yeah, that's right.
You know who you're messing with.
I tell you what, that interim coach, he was cussing out old Nussmeier on the sidelines.
I want to be a city planner.
Well, a couple things here before we break and get to AJ Gersh. First and foremost, we are live right now. We're live on YouTube.
What?
So if you're interested in another platform to watch the show, and actually, not just listen, watch. You get to see Bob and Vinny's beautiful faces as they're delivering these strong takes. 105.7 The Fan on YouTube. Subscribe, tune in, chat, do whatever you want. Communicate with the show. We're here for you.
Donate, GoFundMe for Bob.
If that's not exciting enough, ticket giveaways all week long. You're going to like this one, Bob.
Crap.
You're going to like this one. Iron Maiden tickets.
Word.
Coming to Jiffy Lube Live next September. On sale here, courtesy of Live Nation, but we're giving away a pair every single day this week. And let's start with right now. I'm looking for caller number 8 at 410-583-1057. Our first pair to see Iron Maiden.
Yeah, it should have been number 666, the number of the beast for Iron Maiden. So you want to go see Maiden eventually? Get in here, caller number 8. If you're enjoying us on YouTube, hey, it's all good. We'll come back. AJ Gersh, Fox 45, talk about the Ravens winners of 3 in a row. They're at Cleveland, big favorites too, 9.5 points against the Browns. We said if they're 5-5, I did anyway. If they're 5-5 by the Jets game, they're going to win the division. They're 1 win away from making that happen.
The Fan is giving you a chance to win a trip to Seattle to see Unwrapped in a
Fox 45's Baltimore Zone. He's on the Window Nation guest hotline. Let's welcome back to the show AJ Gersh. AJ, what's going on here on this Victory Monday?
Bob and Vinny, how we doing?
Good.
Happy Monday. It's a happy one.
Now, we just heard during Nolan's update there, the turnovers. 8 in the last 4 games. And, Eric DeCosta brought in a couple of pieces to supplement a struggling defense. They've gotten healthy in some areas as well, even though, Matabike and Washington are done certainly for the foreseeable future. Matabike, maybe, who knows? Hopefully he'll be back at some point to revive his career. But what's been the biggest, no pun intended, takeaway for you in regards to this defense now being representative in regards to forcing turnovers as opposed to constantly chasing in that statistical category?
Yeah, I think it was just kind of the floodgates getting opened 4 games ago for the Ravens. It was only a matter of time until they started turning the ball over. People were so quick to forget that this preseason, people were calling this Ravens defense possibly the greatest defense in the league. And then they came out and gave up 40-plus points and really struggled 37-plus in all the losses with Lamar Jackson in there at the beginning of the season before he got hurt. But, you bring in Alohi Gilman, you trade Oweh in a contract year. He was never going to re-sign after this season. And Alohi has allowed Kyle Hamilton to play that Sam Rush position, play more in the nickel, use as a Swiss Army knife of the defense, and that's really kind of unlocked everyone else. Malachi Starks, people were quick to say that he was a bust, but, man, he's a rookie out there. And he's playing well. 2 picks in 2 games. I think every fan in the Ravens fan base would take that. And then you look on the D-line, and it looked much improved yesterday. I tell you, Mike Green has impressed me with his development so far in the last couple of games. And then the Jones boys, Draymond pressuring, and then Travis Jones pressuring as well, filling in nicely, finally taking a step up that everyone kind of expected him to with Nnamdi out and Broderick hurt as well. So a couple of key additions in Gilman and Draymond Jones, plus kind of that unlocking of everyone else moving Kyle Hamilton around. That is what I think has been the big difference in causing these turnovers.
I don't disagree there. I think Travis Jones has played extremely well over the last 3 weeks. Rushing the passer, bull rushing the passer, but especially playing the run, like taking on 2 blockers and stuff and doing those things. I like the way he's been playing.
Oh, yeah, well, he's had to take a step up because guys like Taven Bryan aren't really producing as much, or John Jenkins aren't really producing as much as a guy like Nnamdi Madubuike would have. But having him, Travis Jones, in next to Madubuike was such a formidable duo that people kind of slept on what Travis Jones was able to do. And now he's finally being able to show that and showcase that in a defense that is much improved thanks to the other pieces around him. So yes, over the last 3 weeks, he's really been able to show his potential. And of course, with the sack yesterday, really highlighting it. And he had 2 pass defense as well on the line of scrimmage, which that is something else to talk about. And that this team had, I think 13 pass defense yesterday, which is just outrageous for one team in a single game. To have it really caused, especially against a guy like J.J. McCarthy, who he's not a rookie, but a very inexperienced quarterback, that can psych out an inexperienced quarterback, and clearly it did with McCarthy throwing 2 picks.
I was really impressed with the way that Roquan played in the pass coverage.
Yeah, Roquan is such a difference maker. I mean, people at the trade deadline were so upset this year that the Ravens didn't make a splash deal. In their history, they haven't really done that, and the only one that has really worked out in terms of giving up future assets, big assets, is acquiring Roquan Smith in 2022. And since he's been on the team, he's been the voice and he's been the motor of this defense. Obviously, you got Humphrey and Hamilton, but he was the guy who broke down the team pre-game. He's the guy who's flying sideline to sideline, regardless of his physical fitness and how some people might describe it. He's looked much improved, especially this season since he's came back from his injury that sidelined him. He's such a difference maker in the pass game, and his ability to wrap and tackle is one of the best in the league, and there's a reason why he's an all-pro that he is.
AJ, I still think it's going to come down to how well the O-line can play for the rest of the season. And until they fix it, I don't think we're going to be a dominant run game. And, I would start with left guard first, and then I'd probably go to right guard after that. But I think it needs to be fixed, because right now it is not. Voorhees sucked yesterday. He was awful.
Yeah, the guard play as a whole yesterday was really, really suboptimal, and it has been for quite some time, pretty much the whole season. I think anyone who watches the Ravens who has eyes can tell that the guard play has stunk. To not mince words there, Vinny. Voorhees yesterday was bad, but so was Faalele. And here's the thing about this team and the difference that Lamar Jackson makes. You take a look at what they were able to do with a guy like, Tyler Huntley or Cooper Rush under center, and then you compare it to Lamar Jackson. This offense, without Lamar Jackson, is nothing, right? Because of the O-line play, they're not been able to create a good run attack. Derrick Henry, his 20 carries for 75 yards, that is a little inflated thanks to Derrick Henry's fourth quarter runs. Without those, it would have been even worse. His yards per carry, it seemed like every other run, and it has been this way the whole season, is getting just stuffed at the line of scrimmage. And that's uncharacteristic for Derrick Henry. Of course,
it's not his fault.
Strong and, right, exactly. Well, that's the point, is that it is not his fault. It's the rush attack being blown up at the line of scrimmage, whether you're going off to the left on Voorhees or off to the right on Faalele. And even Rosengarten has struggled this season too. So Now, is there an easy fix, immediate fix that would be better? I don't necessarily think so. You can obviously try out Emory Jones Jr. once he finally gets more reps at practice, but he had a non-football injury that sidelined him until literally 2 weeks ago, so he's going to take some time as a rookie. Carson Vincent was elevated yesterday for the first time, as opposed to Joseph Noteboom, who was inactive. So maybe we'll see more of Vincent getting into the fray there, mixing him in a little bit. But I don't really know what the easy fix is there, other than, all right, let's wait for Emory Jones Jr. and plug and play and hope that he's better than Voorhees or Faalele, and then move the other to the other side.
AJ Gersh, Fox 45. I don't know if you heard, but Vinny thinks the O-line sucks for the Ravens here in 2025. AJ, appreciate the time as always. Ravens go to Cleveland. Big favorites, 9.5 points. They win that one. Then they have the Jets Sunday before Thanksgiving. And then the Bengals. All of a sudden, the seas are parting for the Ravens to cruise right to the top of the AFC North. But that's why they play the games. AJ, appreciate the time as always. Enjoy the rest of your Victory Monday, and we'll catch up with you soon.
You guys, too. Thanks for having me on. Definitely a favorable schedule here moving forward. Ravens just got to take advantage of it, of course. Keep stacking them. See you guys.
All right,
Thanks,
here's AJ Gersh. Everybody will come back. Reset the program before you get to the AFC North report as we look at the games that happened yesterday, not involving the Baltimore Ravens. Stick around for that. NFL lunch coming up 1 o'clock. We'll look back at our picks, college and pro over the weekend. Booze on the line, beer for me and Nolan, vino for Vinny, as we look at tonight's game, too. You can hear it on the Fan. Philadelphia taking on Green Bay. Green Bay lost at home last week to Carolina. Jeffrey Chadia, NFL Network, NFL.com. Talk about, speaking of team losing yesterday unexpectedly, how about the Dolphins beating the Bills?
With the free Odyssey app, you can rewind to
They blow another lead yesterday against the Bears in the snow at Soldier Field. Remember, a couple weeks back, they were big against Denver there. Scadaboo's out for the year. Jackson Dart got KO'd yesterday. And now Brian Daboll has been relieved of his duties with the G-Men.
Yeah. And, Bob, they're sitting 2-8. Quarterback's been evaluated 4 different times for concussions. So he'll probably be out for a little bit. So they need new leadership. GM will end up going. That place will be cleaned out. Totally cleaned out.
Now, is the QB your dude?
Dart?
Yeah. You're sold on him being the guy?
I would think that they feel pretty good about that. And whoever comes in, I think they'll feel pretty good about that. But what do they got to do, Bob? They got to protect the poor kid. You know, I mean, he's getting killed all the time, and they're having him run all the time, too.
The one hit where his helmet got knocked off his head, and he still kind of hung around for a while after that, but it wasn't enough. So the Giants, they relieve Brian Daboll of his duties as the head coach there, and obviously a search for his permanent replacement will take place in the next couple of months here. But let's get...
says, Bob, the OC, Mike Kafka, will be the interim head coach.
But the full-time guy yet to be determined.
Oh, yeah, that'll be after the season.
Now, in the division, AFC North, that is, Steelers last night taking on the Chargers. Pittsburgh Steelers, Aaron Rodgers, not playing all that great in prime time, and his woes continue. But the Pittsburgh defense, which has been problematic all season long, had a hard time stopping the run.
First and goal for the 2. It is Vidal to the left, into the end zone. Touchdown, Chargers.
NBC on the call there. Vidal, 95 yards on the ground, including the touchdown there, as the Chargers beat Pittsburgh 25-10. Dicker, the kicker, kicked 3 field goals. Justin Herbert threw a touchdown pass. Unfortunately for the Steelers, Aaron Rodgers could not match as he threw 2 picks.
Yeah, he was throwing high.
Had a rough day.
Yeah, he was off. He was throwing it high, overthrowing receivers. He was not good. I mean, Bob, that was a hard one to watch.
It was a snooze fest.
Yeah.
It was 3-2 for a while there, which is it's great in baseball.
Well, they said that the hockey game, the Kings had beat the Penguins 3-2 that day.
So the Chargers, they won 3 in a row all of a sudden. We'll get to our picks here coming up in a few minutes. Jets taking on the Browns, and if you watched it, I was just watching on the Red Zone because I had the Ravens game on, but looking at the uniforms, you would have thought it was 1986 all over again. And unfortunately for the Browns, their defense and their special teams in particular did not play like it was 1986.
Sandwiching that 95-yard touchdown drive. Bojorquez's punt. There's a flag thrown here. Isaiah Williams has his seat. Williams inside Cleveland territory, and he's going to score.
CBS on the call. Isaiah Williams, he takes it in on top of a kickoff return for a touchdown allowed by the Cleveland Browns as they lose 27-10. Will McDonald for the Jets had 4 sacks.
Yeah.
4 of their 6, and he still might not win Defensive Player of the Week. Well, he might get in the AFC because the dude in Seattle had 2 returns for a touchdown on turnovers yesterday. But the Jets pick up a rare win, and for the Cleveland Browns, a season-long struggle continues on. And at the very least, you knew their offense was going to be challenged because they have been all season long. But to have the defense and special teams crap the bed like that, come on.
Bob, Justin Fields, 6 of 11 for 54 yards,
right,
with a pick and a 60 quarterback. Oh man, I mean that was some ugly stuff going on there. Yeah, I mean the Jets had 12 first downs, and they won the game.
For Cleveland, it is what it is. Now their consolation prize. They host the Ravens coming up on Sunday afternoon. Ravens 8.5-point favorites in this game. However, no matter what level Baltimore or Cleveland is, this is always a pain-in-the-ass game for the Ravens. Remember last year, Jameis Winston won Player of the Week as quarterback for the Cleveland team. Ravens defense is starting to play better, as we've talked about, but you can never rest on laurels. And as you're this close to getting to 500, you can't go into Cleveland, and I'm assuming they won't, and anticipate the Browns are just going to roll over and take their L.
Yeah, Schwartzy, the D coordinator, is not going to let them do that.
No.
Being a Baltimore guy, their defense, they're going to get a good test from Cleveland defense, and can Cleveland defense, Bob, give it to them for 4 quarters, and then can Dylan Gabriel, who takes a ton of sacks, likes to dink and dunk with the football, can he make some plays there? I mean, can they run the football a little bit? So we'll see what happens there, but it's going to be tougher than you think.
Always is.
Yep.
Always is. Gabriel did make a nice touchdown throw to Jerry Jeudy, who burned Brandon Stevens.
Oh.
Stevens was kind of strong on the coverage there. It was a hell of a throw and a play.
That's typical of him. He can't find a ball.
Oh, he was in the vicinity. He just didn't see the ball until Jeudy was spiking it in the end zone.
Q says he's their best defense.
Well, that's probably a bad thing if you're the Jets. Bengals. They're on bye this week, but they're at Pittsburgh coming up Sunday at 1 o'clock. Steelers are 5.5-point favorites there. We know Cincinnati's going to show up. They beat them a couple of weeks back. Joe Flacco slinging that football all over the place. But if there's a get-right game for the Steelers offense, what better defense do you want than to get them on the other side of the ball?
I mean, no doubt about it, Bob. I mean, Bob, because if Pittsburgh comes in and loses that game, I mean, they're on.
Might circle the drain a little bit.
There's so much for that Mike Tomlin and his winning records.
Yeah, what are they? 9-8 at least, 10-7. Get to the playoffs. They haven't won a playoff game in 10 years, I believe it is, coming up on it. Still like Pittsburgh. We'll do our picks later in the week, but like the Ravens, this isn't going to be an easy game at home for the Steelers. It's not like Acrisure, this impossible place for road teams to play nowadays.
No,
the Steelers have already lost twice at home.
Yeah, and then the Steelers, there'll be like if they start out poorly, Bob, the Steelers, there'll be a lot of boos in that stadium.
It's Vinny and Haynie, 105.7 The Fan. When we come back, NFL Lunch, you want to join us for that, you can at 410-583-1057. Hear more from the Ravens after their win yesterday against Minnesota. John Harbaugh is going to meet with the media later on this afternoon. We'll have that coming your way tomorrow. We'll look at the picks, college and pro. How do we do with booze on the line? And we'll do our predictions for tonight's game. Green Bay taking on Philly, a game you can hear on the Fan. And Jeffrey Chadia, NFL Network, NFL.com. We'll talk about the National Football League almost 10 weeks through as Thanksgiving's just a couple of weeks away. NFC got a lot of really good teams, but all of a sudden that NFC South, what the hell's going on there?
Win your bet with WannaBet. WannaBet's the new
by Ruth's Chris Steakhouse with Vinny and Haynie on Sports Radio. 105.7 The Fan.
Good evening, Haynie, 105.7 The Fan. Time to feed you some more football, NFL lunch style. We'll get to our picks coming up here in a few minutes as we talk about the weekend that was college, NFL, and a game coming up tonight. Green Bay hosting Philly, a game you can hear on The Fan. A.J. Brown looks like he might be ready to rock and roll for the Eagles in this one. I mean, Green Bay lost at home last week to Carolina. I mean, that's why they play the games. I guess here's your cliche. Kyle Hamilton, he wasn't playing games yesterday for the Ravens in the secondary. And a common theme we've discussed, not the offensive line sucking, we'll get back to that, but the Ravens forcing turnovers, right, Kyle?
Getting those turnovers are huge. And they're not only taking away points for them, but putting our offense in a better position rather than them punting and downing the ball inside the 5. Now we have the ball plus territory, whatever it may be, and it's dope to see everybody getting involved.
And that's the thing. Everybody gets involved because they had a lot of people coming, blitzing and doing different things. I like the fact that they put a bunch of people up line of scrimmage, try to confuse the young quarterback. Probably do a lot of the same stuff this week too. So I think. Their plans, whoever is planning it, give Zach Orta credit. He's the one in charge. But right now, their plans are much better than they've been.
Well, one of the things they did well yesterday, too, Vinny, they were batting a lot of balls down at the line of scrimmage. And Kyle Hamilton was part of that party, too.
Hamilton, Jenkins, I think Okoye got one. Yes, so those guys are big guys. And the quarterbacks, and it should happen again this week, too, with Gabriel, Bob. He's like 5'11". Yeah. So... if you're not getting there, get your arms up. And they did a good job of that because all of a sudden, I would imagine some of those throws, the quarterback's probably pissed off because he said, damn, the guy was wide open. I was going to, hit him for the touchdown or what, or hit him for a long play. So, good for the defense, too, because that's a big part of it is, the batted balls also because it's frustrating for the quarterback.
I was reading Mike Preston's grades this morning in the Baltimore Sun, talking about C.J. Okoye. He learned how to play football watching YouTube.
Really?
I guess. I didn't know that. I tried to learn how to put a bathroom faucet in watching YouTube, and I think he had a better learning experience learning how to play football. But C.J. Okoye, international signing, to use a baseball term, and was elevated to the 53-man roster and made his presence felt. Yesterday, and starting to do that on a weekly basis here.
Well, the thing where he's made the biggest improvement, and the thing that you got to learn to do as a D lineman or an O lineman, got to learn to play low. Got to learn about leverage. And he's been a lot better, about his leverage. He's not just standing up looking, and that's what was happening early on. Then you stand up, you get driven. Now, he's able to find a football, too. So it's not like he's just a big guy with no instincts. He can find a football, So he was doing a nice job. Like, he would punch, and he'd lock out. He'd get off the block and make the tackle. And I'm like, damn, good for him.
Now, Marlon Humphrey had a pick yesterday. Special teams did a very good job. Here's Kyle Hamilton talking about both of those.
Up to our special teams. Everybody on the kickoff. Jordan Stout punted well today. Keandre Jackson's been great for us since he's been active. And big ball energy is just out there making plays for us. And then also Malachi and Marlon. Getting those turnovers are huge. And they're not only taking away points for them, but putting our offense in a better position rather than...
Big ball energy from Jackson.
Yeah. Well, that to me, he just looks natural flying around out there. The one that, to me really stands out, Bob, was the Marlon one because that was 3rd and inches. And they were on the 50-yard line. And, if they run it, they were trying to screw over. They were trying to go for the home run. Because why? All right, if it's incomplete, we're going to come back and run it on 4th down anyhow. So that was a big turnover there because they probably would have gotten the 1st down.
Now, as we look at the Ravens here, a game away from getting to 500 for the first time since they were 1-1, going back to week 2 against Cleveland, we reflect Kyle Hamilton does, he was asked, why were you 1-5 again?
I think what got us, not trying to bring up the past, I think partially what got us to 1-5 was the fact that we came into the season maybe thinking I'm not speaking for everybody, but we're the Baltimore Ravens. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. Teams are just going to lay down and let us win games, and that's not how it is in this league. So we got punched in the mouth early in the season, but now I think we're responding well, and we'll just have that scar tissue going forward when we just start stacking wins.
I don't know if I totally agree. I mean, Bob, because they didn't take Buffalo for granted. They came out and they were kicking their ass.
Well, offensively, they were putting it on.
Yeah. And then, I think it took a long time for that defense and stuff, and the Ravens to overcome that loss to Buffalo. And then when you start to maybe overcome it, then you lose Lamar, and it wasn't like they were playing easy teams throughout that. So, yeah, then they got all the injuries. Yeah, so things just...
But to his point, hey, I'm as guilty as anyone. I didn't say they were going to be the best defense in the history of the Ravens because 2000 says, here, hold my beer. But most talented team, inch for inch, pound for pound. That hasn't proven out to be reality, but they were... Where's the pass rush coming from? Got a lot of young guys in your secondary. How are they going to respond? You have a rookie starting at safety. A lot of these concerns that you had for the defense were real to start the season here.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, Bob, was, nobody... It's kind of like the Orioles. A lot of the guys, Bob, are playing worse than they played last year. And that's a big problem, especially, with the offensive lineman and the Kyle Van Noy type guy, those kind of things. And then when you lose Matabike in the second game, who was probably, other than your quarterback, your best player. So that kind of sucked, too.
And finally here on NFL Lunch, Draymond Jones. He made his Ravens debut yesterday. Had a couple of quarterback hits, and here he is talking about getting up to speed with the new defense.
It's been fun. I'm going to get better each and every week at getting used to the defense and getting used to how things are structured here. I thought today was a good, okay day for me. I thought I played pretty well. Just got to keep rushing. Got to keep playing harder. Got to keep running to the ball more, and we're going to get more wins.
Yeah, I thought for his first time, Bob, I thought, he lined up all over the place, lined up inside, lined up outside, provided some pressure, had a couple hits on the quarterback. So, and I think it gives defenses more things to think about because they have a guy on the inside or on the outside, that you got to worry about.
And getting up to speed, Denard Wilson, former Raven coach, he's the DC in Tennessee, so I guess there's a lot of similar philosophies there that he had coming from the Mike McDonald school of coaching.
Yeah, and I would imagine, Bob, too, that terminology would probably made it real easy for him just to pop in there and be able to play right away.
When we come back, we'll look at picks. How do we do? Booze on the line, beer for me and Nolan. Vinny gets the vino. And we got a game tonight. You can hear it on the Fan. Philadelphia at Green Bay. Green Bay's actually favored in this game, believe it or not. So we'll do all of that good stuff. Jeffrey Chadia repaired. Number 9 for the Bengals. Looks like he's going to come back to practice. We'll get into all of that. Giants are going to look for a full-time head coach in the offseason. We'll get into that. But right now, Nolan, let's get into the picks as we do college and pro. Beer for me. Make ultras. Beer for you, Yingling. And we just give Vinny money so he can buy his own wine.
Standings coming into the week. Still on top. That's me I'm talking about. Up 2 games on Vinny, 19 on Bob. Did we make up any ground here this week? Well, we're about to find out.
On the 78 Yankees.
Starting in college, Georgia and Mississippi State. Well, no movement here. All 3 of us correct with the Bulldogs.
Not an overly impressive win, but a win nonetheless.
No, and Mississippi State took the lead early, 7-0, and then Georgia kind of piled it on.
How about BYU versus Texas? We know Bob had to pick BYU.
Texas Tech.
Texas Tech, sorry. We'll get to A&M later. But yeah, Vinny and I had Texas Tech. Bob had BYU. I mean, pretty good matchup here. 2 great teams this season.
Yeah, but Texas Tech dominated the game.
Yeah.
BYU couldn't get anything done offensively. First L. If they both win out, they'll face each other in the Big 12 championship game. Little rematch on a neutral site.
Maryland and Rutgers.
Yeah.
Tons of disappointment here. All 3 of us believed in the Terps.
Yeah. Never again.
Now, I mean, they win at all the rest of the way.
I'm not optimistic. I was optimistic when Malik Washington ran at 75 yards for a touchdown to get things started. And unfortunately, Rutgers said, wait a minute, you like running football? How about taking this 252?
All right, here's A&M. Texas A&M and Missouri. Vinny took Missouri.
Yeah, I did. That was
Bob
stupid.
and I with A&M.
Yeah.
Freshman quarterback from Missouri. He sucked in the game.
Geese.
And we got you here again.
A&M could win it all. Or they got to play Texas yet and Georgia, I think.
Oregon and Iowa, low scoring. Vinny, very close. It was a bold prediction, but not quite.
And Iowa took the lead with like 2 minutes to go or whatever when they scored a touchdown. Then Oregon kicked a
very resilient were the Ducks, keeping them national championship.
It was windy, it was raining, it was how about the Iowa snapping the ball over the punter's head for the safety?
Bleep happens.
Over to the NFL, going all the way back to Thursday because we did these picks a little bit early, but all 3 of us with the Broncos. Ugly win, but a win nonetheless.
What a snooze fest this game.
Oh, man, was it ever.
Falcons and Colts. This one, not a snooze fest. The exact opposite, in fact, over in, Germany yesterday? Great game.
It was in Berlin.
Berlin.
That's Germany, if I'm not mistaken.
No, but it was at the Olympic Stadium. I was there. That's a cool stadium.
Colts victorious here in this one. Jonathan Taylor, what can you say at this point?
Overtime game. Atlanta thought they were going to. They were matching the Colts score for score, but Taylor, MVP of the league. I mean, this could be the year that a running back finally breaks through, even though Matthew Stafford and Drake May are like, okay, we got this.
I kept saying every time, like they were down there close. I said, just kick it. The game's over. They just kept running it.
Giants and Bears, all 3 of us correct with the Bears here.
Bears coming from behind to get that win, too.
Now here comes the ugly stretch. Bills and Dolphins. No one saw this one coming.
No.
Obviously, none of us bold enough to pick Miami.
Well, because none of us thought Miami was going to win.
Right.
I mean, they were up 16-0. Cook fumbled. Allen fumbled. They couldn't get any offense generated. Tua threw a lobby ball to Waddle, who had a big day. A-Chan was running all over him. Buffalo, man, they look like a team that wasn't ready to play.
Yes.
That's that.
Yes.
Browns and Jets, the eye-roll groan game of the week leading up to Sunday, but actually more high-scoring than anticipated. This one went over the total. Jets get it done. All 3 of us wrong.
Yep. Yeah,
special teams.
Good job on the special teams, Brown.
Patriots and Buccaneers delivered on the hype, but all 3 of us incorrect. We thought the Buccaneers would prevail here. Pats, a convincing win for once. Enough of the gripes about their schedule.
Yeah, Travion Henderson running all over that Tampa defense. Big win for New England. Ravens will see them in a few weeks here.
Saints and Panthers, again, all 3 of us incorrect. What happened? Panthers, big wins, and then you lay an egg like that.
At home, too.
Yeah, your boy Shuck Nolan made a couple of big throws there to Olave and the tight end. And, you win at Green Bay. You come home where you're, pretty formidable.
Yeah.
To get worked.
And they would have been, 6-3 had they won?
Well, 6-4, I believe. And not even Dowdle scored a touchdown, but he's been playing like Walter Payton here this week.
Jaguars and Texans, difference in opinion on this one. Vinny taking the Texans, Bob and I with the Jags. And all you got to say is, are you kidding me? 26 points in the fourth quarter.
They blew the game. I mean, they were rolled. Davis Mills got hot in the fourth quarter there, and Trevor Lawrence, a pick. Well, the fumble was, there was a penalty that took them out of field goal range where they were about to win the game. I mean, Cam Little's kicking 68-yard field goals. This would have been in the high 40s, maybe low 50s. And then there was a legal hands to the face on an O-lineman, and then the fumble return for a touchdown. But, an inexcusable loss for Jacksonville. Big win for Houston.
Cardinals versus Seahawks, all three of us on Seattle.
Puffy
they get
pants.
the win, and now 7-2, playing as well as anybody in the NFC.
What was that, 35 zip before you could blink?
On both sides of the ball.
Marvin Harrison scored again, though. Hey, daily fantasy.
Rams and Niners here, a big rivalry between the two coaches, but as Vinny noted leading up to the game, they always seem to split.
Yeah.
I wasn't listening. I took the Niners. You guys correct with L.A.
Devontae Adams with the oblique, though.
Yeah, that's gonna hurt them because they're good on both sides of the ball. You know, I mean, the Rams were my number one team in Dirty Dozen last week.
What, Stafford, 25 touchdowns, 2 picks, something crazy on the year? Look at this guy, father time.
Lions versus Commanders, all three of us taking the Lions, and Dan Campbell apparently taking over play calling. Worked out well yesterday.
Yeah, I think Williams, finally, he had over 100 yards.
Yeah, 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
Gibbs had 3 TDs. Washington, 5 straight losses. They lost 5 games all of last season.
Oh, they're going to lose a lot more, too.
Yeah, they're done.
And last night's game, Steelers and Chargers, all three of us taking the Chargers in this one. Personally, I thought the Steelers would put up a better fight.
Yeah.
But I'm satisfied nonetheless.
Yeah, Mike Tomlin didn't seem too pleased with his offense after the game.
No, he wasn't. You saw it.
Yeah, and Aaron Rodgers was like, paraphrasing, I sucked.
Right,
And
he
I
did.
need to play better, and the way it is. And Jalen Warren, who's given him some semblance of a running game, not so much last night.
And Ravens versus Vikings. Of course, all three of us took the Ravens, but to revisit the scores, Vinny said 31-17, Bob said 31-26, and I said 27-14. So everyone gets a win there. And all of this, for all of that, no movement. Everyone went 11-7 this week, so the standings remained the same.
So we're going to get dopey tonight. Green Bay, 1.5-point favorites against Philadelphia.
Oh, let me give you the weather forecast for tonight real quick. Right now it's 37 degrees in Green Bay. Feels like 23 at kickoff. At 8, it's going to be 29 degrees is the high, but there's wind. So right now it feels like 23. So when it's going to be in the teens.
We got on.
Well, I'm going to go with the Packers here. I flip-flop back and forth, but I'm going to go with the home team. I mean, look, if the conditions are any impact, I really don't think they will be. Both these teams can play in the cold. That shouldn't be an issue, but maybe a little more trusting in the Packers' ground game. I mean, outside of 1 or 2 moments this year, Saquon Barkley been very underwhelming, although those good moments have been as of late, but we'll see. I'll lean with the Pack.
I'm going Eagles. I think Green Bay struggled against the run. Donald ate them up.
Yes, he did.
You know, and Micah Parsons didn't practice a lot during the week. So I'm going with the fly, Eagles, fly.
I'm going to take Green Bay. Main reasons because they lost last week to Carolina. They can't lose back-to-back home games, can they? Josh Jacobs versus Saquon Barkley, who will establish the run to a greater effect. A.J. Brown could be back, but, if he doesn't get 17 targets in the first quarter, does he start packing it in? No pun intended. So let's go Green Bay. When we come back, Jeffrey Chadia, NFL Network, NFL.com, talk about Week 10 of the season, which wraps up tonight. Brian Dable out with the Giants and other news tidbits. Who are the MVP favorites in the NFL? In is Jonathan Taylor. talk about with Philadelphia at Green Bay. So numbers have been accumulated, records have been achieved. Let's get into some of that and more. Ravens have won 3 in a row. They're a game below 500 with the Cleveland Browns looming in Cleveland. Coming up on Sunday, Bob Haynie, Vinny Serrato, Nolan McGraw joining us now to talk about all of that good stuff and more. He's on the Window Nation guest hotline from NFL Network, NFL.com. Let's welcome back to the show, Jeffrey Chadia. Jeffrey, first of all, good afternoon. How you feeling?
I'm doing well. And you guys sound like you're doing pretty well. I can hear the glee in your voice. You talk about Cleveland coming up here soon.
And then the Jets after that. I don't mean to laugh, but but anyway, a lot better than we were after Houston came to town for sure. But Jeffrey, we look at the MVP chase as we sit here November the 10th. Jonathan Taylor's been tremendous for the Colts. Even Danny Dimes has done it. But you look at Stafford, quarterback rating 114, 25 touchdowns, 2 picks. The offense is percolating on all cylinders. Adams is having a monster year. I know he got hurt yesterday. Even without Puka, they're putting up points. Is anyone but Matt Stafford the MVP of the league right now? And if you're going to pick someone to challenge him, would it be Taylor? What about Drake May? Who's the leader in the clubhouse right now?
Well, I think Stafford's the leader. I do believe Drake May should be in the conversation, and Jonathan Taylor, and Sam Darnold, for that matter. He gets forgotten in all this, but he's had a pretty good year out there in the Pacific Northwest with the Seahawks. But Stafford, to me, is the guy. This tends to be a narrative award, and you look at the way his career has gone. He's gotten the championship. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's had, 3 straight games with at least 4 touchdown passes, and I think 6 games with 20 touchdown passes and no interceptions. It's hard to go with anybody but him right now.
Hey, Jeffrey, Bob and I were talking once we saw Daboll got fired. We were sitting and I asked him, I said, Bob, who are the candidates for these jobs? I'm like, who are the hot court? And you got all these great college jobs open too.
Yeah, it's a very strange time when you think about all the opportunities out there. And I don't know who's going to take these jobs. I mean, there's some good names out there. I imagine Joe Brady from the Bills will be a guy who gets a look. Brian Flores, certainly Vance Joseph. You see those guys getting second opportunities. But that Giants job is a pretty good job, I would think, with the way the quarterback is and Scatterboo and that defense, all those pass rushers. I mean, you're pretty much set up there to take off if you get that job. But you're right. It especially on the college level, because those jobs are paying you so much now that the competition, the desire to find a job where you can kind of control your own destiny and have your own say about how things are going to go, that's got to be appealing to coaches as well.
Hey, Jeffrey, what do you think happened to the Bills yesterday? They were feeling good that they beat the Chiefs the week before, and then they went down just to have stone crabs at Joe's?
That's part of it. I feel like divisional games are always a bit of a crapshoot. I was in Denver watching that, that rock fight with the Raiders on Thursday night. Yeah, exactly. And that, to me, is a perfect example of it. The Raiders aren't been playing good football, but it ends up being a 10-7 game. The Dolphins exposed something that the Bills have been having an issue with all year long, which is run defense. And they actually ran the football and did a good job of doing that. But I do think the Bills came in and probably felt like, this is a win. We just beat up on the Chiefs. We're feeling good. And all of a sudden, you're getting blown out by a bad team. So they learned a tough lesson, but I think the Bills will be okay down the stretch.
Hey, Jeffrey, you think the Rams and Seattle are the 2 best teams in football right now?
I feel like they are. I feel like that game next week is one of the games of the year because I look at how the Rams have been playing. You just talked about Stafford, but people just don't get to see enough of the Seahawks. Their defense is as good as any defense in the league right now. And you look at the way Donald's played, Jackson Smith and Jigba, you talk about Jonathan Taylor. That's probably those 2 guys are going to go at it for Offensive Player of the Year. And that offensive line has improved. And so Mike McDonald went out there, and people forgot about him. But the things he was doing with that defense in Baltimore, the same thing he's doing with the Seahawks defense. And it's been pretty impressive to watch.
Now, Jeffrey, what about tonight? It's going to be cold and windy in Green Bay, and Green Bay lost to Carolina. Philly's coming off a bye. Like Bob said, if CJ doesn't get.
What are you talking about?
The receiver for Philly. If he doesn't get
AJ Brown.
if AJ doesn't get
Carmichael.
17 targets, if he doesn't get 17 targets in the first quarter, he'll be bitching.
It's going to be a fun game. Green Bay, look, I have a lot of trust in Philadelphia figuring things out because handing the ball to Saquon Barkley cures a lot of ills there, and they've been super aggressive going out and finding players. They just got Jair Alexander from you guys, so I don't know if that's going to work out for them, but I do like Jalen Phillips showing up there. But I feel like Green Bay's got to find a way to win this game because of the way their season has gone. They look great 1 minute, and then they're losing to team they shouldn't lose to the next. They've got to find a way to get into a groove here, and winning this game would be a huge step forward for them. So I think the Packers have to win this game.
Hey, Jeffrey, who's going to win the AFC West?
I like Denver still, and I know that they didn't show very well. Part of me feels like that Denver team you saw against the Raiders is not going to be the same offense you see against the Chiefs this week. But the Chiefs are just in such a hole right now that they got to get over not just the Broncos, but the Chargers are ahead of them and have tiebreakers right now. And so I don't think this is what happens when you start 0-2 and you've got a tough division because it's hard to get those games back. And so I feel like Denver's defense is pretty good. Being at home this week is going to make a huge, if they win that game, the Chiefs aren't winning that division. And so Denver sees the opportunity. I think they're going to take advantage of it.
Kansas City can't win on the road right now. Jeffrey Chadilla, NFL.com, NFL Network. Staying in the AFC, and in particular the AFC South, where the Colts are one of the big surprises of football. But what the hell, man? Jacksonville, you're up big. You're on the road. You got Davis Mills. I mean, Stroud, he's not playing. You're cruising along. Then in the fourth quarter, your defense just totally implodes. I mean, we keep waiting for Trevor Lawrence. I mean, we're looking at a guy, maybe Jeffrey peaked as a freshman in college at Clemson. Why is there just something missing with the Jags where you think they're about to get over humps no matter who the coach is? It's Cohen this year, and they just can't seem to get out of their own way for whatever reason.
Yeah, that's been the way they've been. You didn't have to mention Travis Hunter. What that's become, the debacle that's become. But I think it goes back to the quarterback. And I do think when you mentioned the Chiefs a second ago, when we talked about the Ravens and the Bills, like when those teams are having their issues, their quarterbacks pull them through that. And Trevor Lawrence is not that guy. And I've been saying this since he came in the league. He's got tools. He's like a nice guy. But you're right. I think when he was in college, he was a guy who played with a whole bunch of really good players and won a lot of games. And now it's on you to get through it when your receivers are down, when your defense isn't getting it done. They've improved, and I think they'll still be in the playoff contention race. But the difference between them getting a playoff spot and watching from home is Trevor Lawrence. I mean, Brian Thomas has taken all this abuse and criticism. He played pretty well when Trevor Lawrence wasn't the quarterback last year. When he was hurt, Brian Thomas went crazy. And so I think that's an indictment right there of the quarterback.
Now, Jeffrey, Week 10's over after tonight. Justin Tucker's eligible to come back. Does he get a tryout tomorrow, or does he get a job soon?
Well, no. I mean, it is interesting the way this league, this year is playing out, because I think having a really good kicker is going to mean a lot down the stretch in the playoffs. These teams are so close. You're seeing the Ravens getting back into the mix. I think the Texans are going to be back into the mix. And so having a kicker who can hit those big field goals is going to matter to you. You saw, Matt Prater miss a big kick at the end of the Chiefs game that could have cost them if they weren't up a touchdown. Like, that kick's going to matter. And so if Justin Tucker can get back to being the kicker he was before he had all his issues, that would be great. But I don't know if he's going to be that kicker either.
Jeffrey Chadilla, NFL Network, NFL.com. Jeffrey, always appreciate the time. Enjoy Monday Night Football, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
There's Jeffrey Chadilla, everybody. We'll come back, take a trip through the Funhouse. Nolan McGraw, Inside Access coming up at 2 o'clock. And then Monday Night Football as the Philadelphia Eagles, they travel to Green Bay, taking on the Green Bay Packers. As Vinny said, it's going to be really, really cold there tonight.
The Big Bad Morning Show Podcast. Full episodes.
Basketball, Cougars played Towson over the weekend and won by 17, but the Tigers were only down 5 in the second half. So Towson expected to win the Colonial. Got to get over the hump in the postseason. Gave the now number 1 team in the country, the Houston Cougars, all they could handle and then some. Terps tomorrow back on the hardwood against Alcorn State. Alcorn right now 0-3. Then Maryland goes to Marquette, where Buzz was the coach, took them to the Elite 8 and a few tournaments way back when. Marquette got hammered by Indiana yesterday in Chicago. The Hoosiers draining a lot of threes. Maryland football, well, they're at Illinois. And they're getting 14.5 points in that one. Baseball season very much a part of the equation. Awards are going to start getting handed out over the course of the week. Keeping an eye on what Mike Elias is doing in regards to improving the roster. I mean, Craig Albernaz won the press conference, but unless he gets some pitching and a bullpen, might not win a lot of games. And you're counting on your young players to bounce back after disappointing 2025 seasons. Since the second half of 2024, the Orioles record-wise been one of the worst teams in baseball. They got to turn that around for sure. And the Ravens, they're in Cleveland taking on the Browns. Browns lose at the Jets, as we said. Baltimore's won 3 in a row trying to get to 500. And then they get the Jets and then Cincinnati short week. Joe Burrow back in practice on a limited basis, which now opens the 3-week window to possibly get him back on the field.
Yeah, that's a tough injury, Bob, turf toe. And my wife said there's no way he'd be back in December. So,
But offense isn't their problem.
No.
They're putting up 40 points with Jolt and Joe Flacco.
That's true, Bob. Maybe if Burrow comes back, he gives the defense some energy or something.
Yeah, who knows? Is he going to start playing safety for that? Nolan McGraw, anything for the audience before we get to your fun house here? Don't forget, tomorrow we got Vinny's Dirty Dozen, Feeble 5, and notes from the North. We travel around the division with reporters for the respective teams.
That's right. Yeah, one other reminder here, if you missed it today, no worries, because be same time, same place tomorrow, but we are live streaming on YouTube now. So if you want another platform to watch the show on, check us out on YouTube. It's a good amount of people were hanging out in there today. I even saw Q. Q was in the chat, pissing people off as he always does.
No.
So there you go.
Well,
if you want to beat up on Q, get in there.
They did win a game, so you can bloat a little bit.
Right.
And the quarterback was 5 for 11.
And Mark with the comment of the day says, you guys sound taller on radio.
So, sound taller. Right. I mean, we are sitting down.
Right.
Nolan, we going to the fun house or what?
Quick Draws Fun House.
Sponsored by the Smile Design Center. Changing the way you feel about dentistry one smile at a time. For information or to schedule an appointment for care, visit them today at smiledesigndoctor.com.
105.7 The Fan.
Start here. Texter pointing out that J.J. McCarthy actually had them feeling nervous after that opening drive, delivered some really great passes, and they marched right down the field with ease. Glad the defense was able to flip the switch from that point and got it done at the end of the game after the offense should have been able to run out the clock. Impressive effort all around.
I thought J.J. McCarthy's best throw, Bob, when was it Kyle Hamilton drilled him first play of the game, wasn't it? When he hit Jefferson on the sideline? That was I'm like, oh boy. Hopefully this is not the sign.
Well, the one, the nailer was like right in the basket.
That was good too. He had some, and even though the touchdown pass was a nice one where Wiggins was just watching.
Another thought on the Ravens. This one says it's laughable that the Ravens held Keaton Mitchell back for so many weeks to begin the season. He shows every chance he gets what he's capable of, and to do it with limited reps on top of that. Just wish he was there to possibly help when the run game was a little disjointed earlier in the season.
No, I think this is a good time to have him picking it up, because these are the games that are going to count now. And I wouldn't even mind, especially when, like, your line is kind of struggling a little bit. They don't hold blocks that long. I mean, for him to get through that whole, like, bam, might not, a nice little change-up.
Looking at the Ravens defense in particular, Antonio in Rosedale checking in, wants to know, have the Ravens truly found their defensive identity? At least for this year.
What is it, blitzing, and being aggressive? I've always thought the secondary's been pretty good. I think the linebackers are pretty good. And then they got to create pressure. And then I wish they could be a little more stout stopping the run consistently.
This one here says it's a shame that we have to navigate buyout talks when it comes to doing what's best for Maryland football. Loxley has proven to not be the answer for years, doesn't deserve any more leeway. It's hard to find a great coach, but we all know where the Terps are heading if they stick with Loxley.
Well, there are a lot of openings in college football. And James Franklin, I know a lot of people are pining for him. This is a guy that probably should have had the job 15 years ago when Debbie Yao basically got rid of Ralph Friedgen and Kevin Anderson. He brought in Randy Edsel. Mike Leach was put. There was a whole thing. But Franklin was the coach in waiting. And I don't even think Ralph Friedgen was ready to retire at the time.
Right.
Either. So that whole thing was a debacle. Then he goes to Vanderbilt, becomes a guy. A year ago at this time, they were putting together a season that took him to the Final Four.
Yeah.
And now he's gone, but he's looking at bigger fish than Maryland right now. Linked to Virginia Tech, which means he's still going to recruit the area, which he's done well for years. Auburn puts him back in the SEC. I mean, James Franklin's going to be a very well sought after candidate, and Maryland ain't going to be the destination.
And one last one here. Howard in Baltimore, not too pleased. I mean, he's happy with the win, but an individual performance rubbing him the wrong way. Talking about Wiggins giving up on the 4th down touchdown there when the Ravens were up by 14 late. They cut it to 7. Says could have at least attempted to push the player out of bounds. Think he needs to be called out for that. This is how teams routinely end up coming back on the Ravens.
Yeah, and then I know Harbs called him out on when he did that. He tried to block the guy instead of tackling him because it was right on the sideline. I saw they showed it. Harbs was grabbing him and I think talking sternly to him, which I'd have been MFing up and down, And if I was one of his teammates, I said, wrap him up, MFer.
Harbs will be meeting with the media today, and since the Ravens won 3 in a row, I don't think it'll be a stern response to any of the questions. It'll be more like, great question, Jeff. One of those sorts of days for John Harbaugh. We'll have that for you tomorrow. We got Vinny's Dirty Dozen, Feeble 5. We're going to got notes from the North. We'll talk about everything else happening in your sporting world over the next 24 hours. Inside Access coming up next.